What's good? What's good, guys? Your boy, Mr. Old School Ryder, come back at you one more again. I have a special guest this evening, award-winning author, Miss Kimberly Packard. How you doing this evening?
Oh, I am good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good so far. What you think about your intro?
Oh, it's pretty awesome. Thank you. I'm humbled. Humbled.
Got your little advertisement in there.
Yeah, you're looking out for me. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you looked out for me as well back in the day. So tell everyone about yourself, Kim.
Oh gosh, I do PR and marketing by day, by night and weekends. I write books, so I kind of like to write about characters. It's funny. I write a lot about people searching for their identity and who they are. So obviously, I'm having an identity crisis and just haven't come to terms with it. But I like to write a lot of just kind of badass women, kind of like your last two guests that you've had on your show. Hopefully, I can live up to them. Keisha and Sassy.
Oh yeah,
They were pretty awesome.
oh yeah, you are badass. I got to give it to you, especially these books that you have. My goodness.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
how I met you actually in Grapevine back in 2019 at the local post office in Grapevine.
Yeah.
When I used to frequent there, I used to see you on a regular basis. You was always have boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering what was in the boxes. Then you told me you're an author. I'm like, really?
You
You
never
was
know
bringing
who
books in.
post office. Yeah. So, yeah, because I was going up there and sending them off to readers, people that asked for signed copies or had entered contests. And yeah, one day you just stopped me and you're like, what do you have in here? I was like, books. And then I think you came to one of my signings not long after that. So
Oh, let's see. Do you remember this?
I do. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So,
yes, that was at the Ranger. What do they call this stadium? The old stadium.
oh, the ballpark, right? Isn't that what
Yes, I
the
believe
yeah.
so.
So they're supposed to do that one again. I think probably next year. I think it was supposed to be this year, but pandemic
Stuff happened.
stuff happens. But yeah, I'll let you know when that one happens. You have to come back out and see me again. So
Yeah, I was actually looking I moved to Atlanta by then. When I went to
Yeah.
the book fair, and I pretty much left a little bit after that.
Yeah.
But I was looking forward to the next one. I'm like, oh yeah, for 2020, it's gonna be huge. Then next thing you know, the whole world shut down. I'm like, oh well.
We had such high hopes for 2020, didn't we? We were so cute back then.
Oh my god, it was a good fun time too.
Oh yeah, but hey, we're getting back there.
Yeah, we was wild back then. We was drinking after each other, all type of stuff,
All right.
hugging people.
Now it's like, oh, I don't know about touching other people, but yeah, we'll get there. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's actually kind of a weird thing at my job and stuff. It's saying don't be close to anybody, don't touch,
Mm-hmm.
no shaking hands. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy.
Oh, I know, and it's like all I really want to do is hug someone. I'm a very huggy. I mean, you know this. Like I
Hmm.
like left across the table and hugged you at the book signing. So I'm a very huggy, touchy person. So for me, it's been really hard. My poor dog's been getting a lot of hugs. The cat,
Hmm.
So they're getting tired of me. But
As long as you keep feeding them, they'll be just fine. But the
oh yeah.
cat, man, the cat, they got their mind of their own. But with the dogs, you just throw them a couple treats, they
Hmm.
good.
Oh yeah. I know, but this one, he's I've never seen a dog like this one. He definitely has a mind of his own.
Hmm.
He hates the word no. If I tell him that he acts like a toddler if I tell him he can't do something. So I don't know what I did wrong, but
So how was this particular dog?
he just turned 2. So we're just kind of exiting that terrible twos puppy stage. But he's a little black lab pointer monster mix,
Hmm.
but he's cool. He's a good dog. He's a smart dog. He and the cat are best friends. So they're
So
all.
he's going to get a little bit bigger, right?
I don't know. I think he's probably going to fill out some, but I think last weigh in, he's about 60 pounds, but, which is weird because our last one was 90 pounds. So he's kind of feels like a lightweight compared to him. So,
Oh yeah. So Kim, we basically just going to go into it just a little bit.
oh,
So
yeah.
how long you been writing books?
I think I started writing my very first book, like the start to finish, in 2004. But I have a few before then that I would start in. I'd get like 3 chapters in and it'd be like, okay, I don't know where this is going. So I'd put it aside. And really before that, I wrote a lot of short stories because I think I was just trying to figure out, like, I knew I wanted to write. I just didn't know, like, when you look at a book and you see how, this thick, it can be really scary. And so a short story is pretty, it's kind of crawling before you take off running. So I've been doing that since probably junior high, high school, maybe even before then.
Oh yes, you're absolutely right. Your books are this thick.
Yeah, you're at Vortex.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I actually bought two. I bought this one,
yep, yep.
Vortex, and my favorite one is actually Phoenix.
Oh, I love Amanda. Love her. I miss her.
Man, that daggone Amanda, man, she was going through it.
Oh man, but she, you know what? She was going through it, but she was just like, fine. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and give it everything I got. So, and she's scrappy. I like her.
Yeah, I was I actually reread it recently.
Mhm.
I actually paid attention to the details. I'm like, God, dog, man, Amanda survived, man, like a workplace violent type of
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. Yeah, and I put her through the ringer because there's 2 more books that follow that one, Pardon Falls and Prospera Pass, and I put her through the ringer in those 2. But then we actually get to meet her ex-boyfriend,
Hmm.
Josh, the guy kind of created this whole mess. I put him through the ringer too, but I ended up kind of liking him, so
Hmm.
he's charming.
So when did you come out with the other two books? I know it's a trilogy, but when
Yeah.
did those come out?
Oh shoot, was it 2018 and 19? I think so. Yeah, I'll send them to you. I'll get them to you.
Yeah, my money wasn't right back then. I could only buy
Yep.
2 books back then.
It's all good.
But
It's
we
all
are we good to go now. But yeah,
Yeah.
I can pretty much buy what you got. At least
Thanks.
one copy.
Yeah, no. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
So is Amanda somebody in real life that you know of, or it's just like a mixture of people
You
that
know,
you know?
she's not really. I think she's maybe a little bit of me in the sense that, she and I kind of had the same day job. And the impetus for that book and kind of what really started the story was way back when I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I was doing their communications, and I was in charge of all of their like big global contract announcements. So these are things that, influence stock markets. You always have to be really careful when you do this. So I would joke that more attorneys had to sign off on my press release than people in the PR department. And one of my attorneys just kind of quipped, and he was like, well, I'm trying to keep you out of jail. And it just was like, whoa, okay, take all the time you need. I'm not really going to rush you anymore. But it kind of got me thinking. And, before that, I'd had some clients that were, would ask me, oh, can you do a bad story about this person? I was like, no, we're karma. We're not going to do that. But it did kind of get me thinking that I'm only as good as the information I have. And, if Amanda, if someone was in a situation like Amanda, where could that lead you? And so, and I had about a 30-minute drive to this office back when we drove in cars to our offices, not just to the other room. And I started telling myself this story of, okay, so what if, what if this, what if that? And really, I kind of joked that the story of Phoenix was written before I ever sat down and wrote the first word. I kind of knew everything that was going to happen. And some stuff surprised me. The bus scene. That actually, I kind of laugh about that scene because I did not intend for it to end the way it did. Because I was like, in my mind, I was like, my parents are going to read this. And you know what I'm talking about. So I actually wrote that scene, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And every single time it ended the same way. And so finally, I just threw my hands up and I was like, fine. If that's the way you are, be that way. But you're not that kind of girl. And this is not that kind of book. And but then I've had so many people say, that was such a pivotal scene. That was her kind of regaining control. And I was like, yeah, except I did. I mean, she regained control as I was trying to write the story because I was like, you're not doing this. So.
Oh yeah, Amanda. Wow, I think she ended up moving to like a secluded area as well.
Yeah, so she kind of hopped off the bus in this fictional town of Phoenix, Texas. Surprisingly, there is not a Phoenix, Texas. And that was kind of just meant to be a little, just a breaking, a break for her because she's trying to find Josh and she knows he's in El Paso. But she can't exactly hop on a plane and go down there because she's in some hot water herself. And so that's, in this little town, and she's taking this break and she's, takes a job at this newspaper and uncovers an old murder has not been solved. And she kind of feels like, okay, this is something I can do. I can figure out who killed this girl and, help atone for my sins because she feels very bad for the things she's done. She's really a good person. She just made some bad decisions and kind of hooked up with some bad people along the way.
Yeah, it just seemed like she always be like in the wrong place at the wrong time, but she have good intentions most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then of course she started dating a cop, and when you're an on-the-run criminal, that's never a good idea. So.
Yeah, that was a part that kind of I'm not confused. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually happened stuff like this does happen in real life.
Mm-hmm.
People be on the run, they fall in love with some type of law enforcement or whatever the case may be. They end up helping them out, getting them out of trouble, or that person may have to just run off without notice.
Yeah, and and I feel bad for David because she really kind of broke his heart, and we actually get to see what happens to him in the next book too, and but at the same time, she knew she was resisting it. She was like, "This is a really bad idea," but the heart can only go so far, and it's just going to keep on tugging.
So when you say David's going to be the next book, is that the books that's already written, or are you about to write it?
Yeah. No, those two. It's kind of done. It's it's funny because I've had some people reach out. Actually, someone reached out to me recently, like, "Hey, is there going to be?" Because I have another book coming out in 13 days, and they were like, "Hey, is that going to be another Amanda book?" And I'm like, "No, I really, in my mind, I know she's off, living her life and things are good for her now, but I just don't. I kind of want to just leave her alone and let her have her life. But never say never. Who knows? Something may pop up, and I'm like, Amanda's the girl for this."
Yeah, you got to bring her back one day. Bring her
Yeah.
back in a couple years or
I
whatnot.
know, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, yeah, the world needs a man dog.
I need to give her a break.
God, that's so. Tell us about the new book that's coming out in the next 13 days. You say?
13 days. I mean, not like anybody's counting, but this one is called Dyer's Club, and it is completely different from anything I've written before. It is, I kind of use the tagline of it's the Breakfast Club meets the bucket list. But it is about a group of strangers that are thrown together because they signed up for a kind of a bucket list into life adventure. So, in some ways, I had moments of like Fantasy Island. Do you remember that show?
Oh,
Um,
oh, the plane,
yeah,
the
like
plane.
people that's come together, and so it's like I have Fantasy Island moments, and I don't know. It's but it follows these characters. Each I have each of them kind of have a voice. Like in Phoenix, you saw that Amanda had chapters, and Shiloh and Alex. All of these guys have chapters, so quite a few characters, but they're all very different people. We've got Jimmy Dyer, who's the owner of the company, and who runs this travel agency, and his assistant Darla. She's just a little fireball, and adore her. Then we've got Charlotte. Charlotte, kind of like the self-help, guru and influencer, but she kind of fell into the profession. But she's someone who never got over her grief, so that's really eating at her. We have Levi. He is an '80s rock star
Hmm.
who's come back for one last show.
Oh my goodness.
We've got Lourdes. She's a telenovela star from Mexico who sadly is dying of cancer.
Hmm.
Then we've got this young man, Dylan, who's just this brilliant young scientist, and he's dying. And then we have Celeste. And Celeste is everybody's grandmother, and she has Alzheimer's. So, it's a book. On the surface, you're like, oh my God, this is depressing. All these people are dying. But at the same time, it's really kind of a book about living. And it's a book about, letting go of your own mistakes and letting go of your own guilt and regret and just moving forward and just, as the kids say, live your best life. So,
Oh wow. Okay. I know the other books that you normally have, they're a little bit more upbeat.
yeah, yeah. This one's kind of upbeat. I mean, like I said, it's got moments. It's got some there's some funny moments. There's a moment where the group is all together shouting expletives off the side of a mountain because they're dying. Why not? Levi, I adore him. He is, this cranky old British rocker, and the stuff that comes out of his mouth just cracks me up.
Oh my goodness.
Lourdes, she's someone that I almost had to like peel back her layers, and then it's like, oh, okay, she's someone who hides herself deep down inside.
Hmm.
And then you got Darla, and just Darla is like, she would probably, honestly, if I had to be in a bar fight, I would want Darla on one side and Amanda on the other. So she's kind of right up there with Amanda. She's a scrappy little Texan, used to barrel race, and just life was not kind to her. But you know what? She was not giving up on it. So
Oh, she's a fighter.
she was a fighter.
She's a younger person, and she's like middle age.
So this book's funny. So most of my people are a little bit older in this book. Darla's in her mid-30s. Charlotte is 40. Lourdes is probably around that same age. And Dylan's a young kid in the book, and I think he's 23. So it's funny. Everybody's a little bit older in this book, but it kind of worked. It seemed like that's where everybody needed to be in their lives. So.
Oh wow. So how long did it take you to write this particular book?
Dyer's Club. So the idea came to me, and this is the only book that's ever done this. It came to me in a dream. And in my dream, I was having a conversation with I sound like a really crazy person because I talk to my characters. But I was having a conversation with Jimmy, and he just looks at me and he goes, everybody dies. The lucky ones have fun doing it. And I just shot up out of bed, and I was like, holy crap, what is this? And I had to go grab a journal, and I was like writing. And oh gosh, this must have been like back in like 2012 or 13 when this
Oh
first
wow.
hit me. And And it was funny because at the time I was part of a program with a local chain of grocery stores where they would invite local authors to come in and do book signings. And I remember I had a signing that day and I just brought my journal and I basically sat at the table, had my head down, and I'm just writing. I'm like, yeah, I have a book. And I'm just, so I was joking with one of my friends, was like, that was like performance art day at the, at the grocery store. Cause I kind of ignored people and just was trying to get all this, the essence of the story down. But I started writing it, like seriously had the story, like, okay, this is the characters, this is the people, all that. I started writing that back in 2000, was it 18? Is that right? Or 19? No, it was actually, no, it was 2018. I remember, sorry. Sadly, it was the week that I started writing it was the same week that Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain took their lives.
Mm.
And this book is about suicide. Charlotte is struggling with depression, and that's something that she battles against. So talk about a tough week. I remember writing and I just had to get up and go for a walk because I was like, wow, I am having to get into someone's head like that and think the way they do, and just to feel their hopelessness was really, really rough.
Wow. Yeah, actually, this book is right on time right now.
I know, right?
Because of the stuff that happened recently. Yeah, some people. I mean, unfortunately, it was some people was prepared, and a lot of people wasn't, and some people just couldn't take it.
Yeah,
being like that.
I know, and really, I mean, this is a book about hope, and Charlotte does find her hope, and she does let go of her grief, and she gets help. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say she gets help. She's okay, because I don't want to bring down the room and say, oh yeah, no, she get down, but really, sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. And so, this is really about her just forgiving herself and moving on with her life. So I think it's a lesson that we can all just remember. And the other thing that stuck out at me was how she's on the surface really had it all together. And I think that's something that, sadly we see that a lot, where it's like you had no clue something was happening, in the background. So I think it's a good reminder to be kind to each other, because you never know what someone is dealing with on the inside. And, some days it's just all they can do to get up. Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah this week, and just princesses deal with this. So I think, it's something that's a reminder. We're all human and we all struggle.
Oh yeah, you're correct on that. We all human. We go through struggles.
Yeah, yeah. But this is where the beauty of the human race is. Sometimes it just takes a smile and a kind word to someone to really change their day. And I think hopefully this is something that we'll kind of remember as we come out of the pandemic, is, being able to see someone and just smile at them, because, we're smiling beneath the masks, but, sometimes it's something as simple as just saying thank you. And I'm so glad you helped me on this. And,
Yeah, it's looks like, I mean, I can't really say it like this online, but we get in there.
We're getting there. I think
I
so.
see signs of it right now.
Yeah. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling hopeful.
Yeah, I see Walmart closing a little bit later. I see the signs right now.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the home state is, I think we open all the way, right?
Yeah. We're just like everybody in the pool. So, breaks over. But there's more vaccines coming, and, I'm on the list. I'm way down at the bottom of the list, but I'm on the list. So, ready to get there. Ready to.
I guess we'll get it whenever. I guess when we get our spot. I guess.
Yeah. It's funny. I was more worried about my parents. They got theirs. They're all set. My sister's a teacher. She's getting her first dose on Friday. So it's funny how I didn't realize how tense and stressed I was about the people in my life that I was worried about. And now that they're starting to get vaccinated, I'm like, I'm good. I'm okay. I mean, I'm still going to do what I need to do, but I'm less worried than I was before. So.
Oh, wow. All right. We're getting close to the end here shortly,
Yeah.
Kim. We're actually going to talk about some of the older works here.
Yeah.
Some of the books that you have in the past, are those kind of like love books to a certain extent?
There's always a little bit of a love story my books. And if anything, I don't think it follows the technical definition of a romance, because those kind of follow. You have to have this. You have to have happily ever after and all that. But in some ways, actually, there's a love story within Dyer's Club. Um, Sometimes romance complicates things. Kind of like Amanda and David. Vortex. We haven't talked about that book. I really had a lot of fun writing that book. Because as a Texan, I mean, storm chasing is just kind of what we do on the weekends. So that was a lot of fun. And that was a situation where Elena and Seth, their little budding romance, just kind of got in the way. And one of my favorite scenes was when she basically punched him out on live TV to try to get his attention. And, then they went and had drinks later. So it's like, yeah, that's, yeah.
So, what was the inspiration for Vortex? Actually, I read that one as well. I have this one too.
Yeah, so that one, we were watching storm coverage because we had, how it is here. We have those lines of thunderstorms that roll in, and so it's 24/7, meteorology, and it was interesting. I was just watching it, and they were showing kind of the aftermath of a storm and how it kind of blown some stuff around, and I just had this image in my head of this little girl being found under all the debris, and she didn't know how she got there, and so. That was actually part of Elena's story, is that in the first scene, she gets a little too close to a tornado and has a flashback. And the flashback is her being found. And she didn't realize she had this memory. Because there's a lot of things that, I know, I've had this conversation with my mom. It's like, oh, don't you remember this? And she's like, that never happened. But somehow in my head, I think that we did this thing. And so, memories aren't reliable at all. And so that kind of made her question who she was. She knew she was adopted. So she wanted to dig into that a little bit more. But really, it just started with just this little flash of a scene in my head. And kind of was like, who's this little girl? And just sat down and started writing it. And she was fun. It was fun to do a lot of the science research into storms and tornadoes and the genesis of it. And I was, geeking out and telling my husband all this stuff about, updrafts, downdrafts. And,
Yeah, I can tell this particular book is a little technical as well, but still, it's still informative.
Yeah, I was trying not to get too sciencey, but I was like, well, I need to at least show that she knows what she's talking about. So.
Yeah, when I ran into you back then at the post office, you was telling me about Vortex.
Yeah.
And when I saw you at the stadium, you told me to read this one first. I'm like, okay, you're going to like it very much. Trust me, you're not going to put it down.
Yeah.
You're correct. I think I read this one probably like 4 times, actually.
Oh, no way. Oh, man, that's awesome. Thanks.
I mean, it took a long time to do it, but I actually went through it 4 times.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks. That's very cool.
Do you have an audio book on this one yet?
The only audiobook I have is for Phoenix, because way back when that very first came out, I had a small publisher that I partnered with, and she did that. Audiobooks are kind of expensive to produce.
Really?
So I haven't done the others yet, but I kind of want to. It's on my list. So when I win the lottery, the first thing I'm going to do is get audiobooks done for everything.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah. They're like, kind of crazy.
A lot.
They're high.
You'll get it going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So.
So in the trilogy of the Phoenix series, the other 2 books, what those line with? What's the number 2 book?
Number 2 is called Pardon Falls, and that one is it starts about a year later with Amanda. Actually, the opening scene is her sneaking into Mexico. And she's in this little border town down. Really, the inspiration for this town is Terlingua, Texas. So if you ever go down to Big Bend, like way down there, it's just a little kind of hideaway that is, off the grid. And so she goes down there and she's sneaking into Mexico to try to find Josh. And she finds him. He's actually working for a cartel.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
Yeah, so Josh had gotten himself in deep. So as I mentioned, we get into Josh's head. We get to see what's going on with him. We get into David's head. He's actually working as Border Patrol because he got fired because he was, hooking up with a girl that was an on-the-run criminal, and he didn't think to ask. So, You don't really ask that question on a date. So yeah, are you on the run from the law for anything? Just curious. But still, he had to take some take some knocks for that one. So needless to say, Amanda, Josh, and David all end up running in together. So there's a point when the three of them are lost in the desert and trying to make it back, and that was kind of really a fun scene. It was kind of a chunk of the book. I would say it's maybe a quarter of the book where they're all together, and you've got Amanda with both of her ex-boyfriends, and the way that they have to stay alive, and they really don't have much as far as provisions. They weren't planning for this.
Oh man, that's a sandwich right there.
Oh
Golly,
yeah,
that is
and
something.
the alliances are shifting. She and Josh are having to not hook up, but side together for something, and then David gets mad, and then David and Josh are against her. Yeah, that was fun. Um, so yeah, like I said, I run her through the ringer, and yeah, so she's fun.
So, oh wow. What about the third one, the final one?
Yeah, the third one is called Prospera Pass. So it picks up just maybe about a month after Pardon Falls ends. So Pardon Falls ends with them trying to get back into the U.S. and they're running from this cartel guy because Amanda shot his ear off, so he's really pissed off at her, and they all got away. So this is where basically at this scene, and they're having to basically jump into the Rio Grande to get back into the U.S. And Josh did something that completely. This is where I told you he charmed me.
Hmm.
He did something I really didn't expect him to do. He sacrificed himself for Amanda and David. Um,
Oh
but
man.
yeah, but he did it because he grew. He realized, okay, I'm kind of a schmuck, but she could actually get. I need to do this for her. Um, in the third book, Amanda and David, they got separated in the river. So David got out, but Amanda didn't, and he thinks.
Oh no.
Oh, I know.
Come
He
on.
thinks she's dead, but she's not. But she just got really banged up going down the river, and she's in a Mexican hospital, and she's pretending to have amnesia because she just really can't deal with. I mean, she thinks they're both dead. She thinks it's all her fault. Uh, but there's a priest that comes around, and turns out he's not really a priest. But the cartel finds her, and she's on the run again. So, and finds David and Josh. And Josh, he's not dead, but he's a little worse for the wear because he's being tortured by the cartel now.
Yeah, Josh survived. Yeah, he got ran through the ringer too, just like
Yeah.
Amanda.
I know, I know. It's funny. My editor was like, because she's edited all three books, and it was funny because I'm texting with her as she's editing the Prospera Pass, and she was like, "I hate you, I really hate you." She was like me. She was like, the second book, she was like, "First of all, I hate you for making me love Josh," and I'm like, "I'm really sorry, not really, but really." But then she gets to the third book, and she's just like, "I can't believe you're doing this to him." And and by the way, does your husband know you have this in him? Didn't you? Because he might want to start taking out the trash more often. And so
Yeah, I was actually rooting for Josh the whole time in the first book.
I know he's it's all good. That's everybody ends up where they need to be.
I think it's gonna be a fourth book. I know it's not gonna
You
be
think so?
Phoenix, but it's gonna be something else.
I still, it's funny. I'll have dreams about her. Like, it's just like, hey, how you doing? So I don't know. I never say never, but I'm already working on my next book after Dyer's Club. It may be still about a year away from being ready for publish, but that one's completely different. It's about, do you remember the Milli Vanilli story of how those guys weren't actually singing? It was this big lip sync
Oh
thing.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this next story is kind of a Milli Vanilli situation where you've got two women that are essentially playing the same role as this pop star. One is the face and the other is the voice.
Hmm.
And so it's about kind of them keeping the charade going. And then there's a young reporter that's sniffing it out. And so that's kind of the next one on tap. So maybe Amanda might be back after that one.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Wow. How you thought about making like a little screenplay or anything like that, or maybe like a mini movie or
You
something?
know, I actually thought Dyer's Club would be a great movie because just the scenery of it and everything. I don't know. We'll see. That would be cool. I could see the arrangement. That's the name of the next book, The Arrangement. I could see it maybe being a movie because, I mean, I watched the Britney documentary because it was research, and the way, these people were controlled and, so I could see that also being a movie. So you never know.
When you
Maybe.
say the Britney movie, what Britney were you talking about?
Oh, the Britney Spears documentary that, oh gosh, when did it come out? Like a couple weeks ago.
Oh
You
wow.
know, there's the whole Free Britney movement. And
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah,
She's under. Okay, she got a
yeah,
caretaker.
yeah. And so it kind of, and it was interesting because I've never been like, I'm a little too old to be the hardcore Britney fan, but where they kind of laid it all out in the timeline of like her mental breakdown. She had two babies like 11 months apart.
Hmm.
She was totally postpartum and nobody knew it. And she had this complete mental break in front of everybody and nobody supported her.
Hmm.
Meghan Markle, I mean. So I think we have situations of women that just need to help each other. And actually the arrangement does that. So hopefully.
Oh
But
yeah, you cranking them out now. That's
I
good.
know, I know. So working on it, trying.
So actually, before we go, you was telling
Mhm.
me about when you have dreams,
Yeah.
you actually get up real quick and just jot it down.
Hmm.
I actually try to do that myself, but it never works out. I end up forgetting before I even get to my pen and pad, especially when I sometimes I have a dream with the lottery and stuff. I know it sounds kind of
Yeah.
crazy. I'm like, I got to win a number. Somebody won a lottery. Let me go ahead and get the numbers. And by the time I write them down, I don't know the numbers. I forget.
Oh, so I used to sleep with like a journal and a pen right next to the bed. I actually quit doing that with the puppy. I should probably do it again because he would basically take it and steal it and tear it apart because puppies. But yeah, no, I would have a journal right there and just grab the pen and just one eye open, just start going. But it's funny you say that because I know there was a night that I had the dream of like the next great American novel and I forgot it. So
Oh
you
yeah,
probably have lost so many lottery numbers. You could be a millionaire how many times over, but
ain't no telling. And I lost so many great ideas.
I know. So it's that keeping that notepad next to you.
Yeah, I actually do have a notepad next to the bed now, just in case.
Yeah. I was reading a book about so it was this book that was like kind of a memoir and this guy is a playwright and he talked about how he would actually tape a pencil to his finger when he went to bed. So that way he didn't even have to like click the pen and he just, would start writing. And I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, how many times do I scratch my face and or
Oof.
roll over? I'm like, this is seriously problematic. And yeah, that's a great way to poke an eye out.
Ooh. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, if you had to go to the restroom,
I
oh,
know, right?
that's gonna be a crazy situation.
Because I usually do that at least once in the middle of the night. So yeah, so works for him, but I don't think I could do it.
Oh yes, Miss Kim. So, any final thoughts and words before we leave for today?
Oh gosh, just be kind to each other. We're all on this journey together, and a little bit of kindness can go a long way. So just be kind, be patient. Read a lot of books. Books will teach you empathy. So don't be afraid to slip into someone else's shoes for a little bit.
Oh yes, I most definitely read a lot last year too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I brought all my book. I got quite a few books, but all those books I bought at the book fair. I think I bought like what 10 books, I believe.
Yeah, you had a stack.
Yeah, I had a
So
stack. I
yeah.
forgot your lady friend name, but I bought a book from her.
Oh, is that maybe Chrissy?
I think
Maybe.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, we all stick together.
All right, hey, that'll work. I just can't wait for the next book fair down there.
I know. So were you the kid like, the school book fairs that, they'd send us home with the paper and you'd be like, I want one of everything.
Back in the day, unfortunately, we couldn't afford to do stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
I used to get mad. It used to just piss me off. Some of the kids. It was just simple stuff like getting like a little. I guess when you call it the book fair, like in a library,
Yeah, yeah.
you get like a little pencil pack and a book and stuff. It'd
Hmm.
be cheap, but I just couldn't. We just couldn't afford it.
Yeah, yeah. I know my mom, I'd sit down, I'd check everything, and my mom's like, okay, now pick one of those. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I have to pick one? Yeah, yeah. But, I think it just gives you an appreciation for, the books we can get today. So.
Yes, Kim. So tell everyone your website and your social media so they can follow you and buy your books.
Absolutely. Thank you. So my website's kimberlypackard.com, and my socials, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Kimberly Packard. I think on Facebook it's Kimberly Packard Author. But you follow me there, you'll see a lot of pictures of my dog and cat, and some pictures of me when I'm writing. So.
Oh yeah, you can slide in her DM as well. No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
yeah, yeah, you can. People slide me a DM, I always reply. Unless you're like weird, then I don't reply. But if you're not
Yeah,
weird, I'll reply.
if you were, you're gonna get blocked.
I haven't blocked that many.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, Kim. We actually, yeah. Hopefully, when I get back to Texas,
Hmm.
we'll meet up or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
I need to get some books anyway. What do you have on hand?
So I've got the three books from the trilogy. I've got Vortex. I should have Dyer's Club coming soon. I just sent off the order for the paperbacks for that, so I'll have that. And then they're also all on Amazon and wherever you buy books, Barnes and Noble, all those good places. So.
What about the old stuff that you have from like way back?
Oh gosh, those are put away on a drawer. Nobody wants to see that.
Oh
No,
my God.
actually on my website, I do have some short stories that I've posted up. I did a fun thing this summer. It was the NYC at Midnight Flash Fiction Contest. And you would have 48 hours to write these short little stories, and they would give you random things like the first one I had to write was a sci-fi in a retirement home with a sponge. And so I wrote a story about these intergalactic geriatric warriors who had to, fight one last battle. So it was fun. I named them after my dog and cat, which made it even funnier because.
Oh boy.
So anyway, so I posted the stories that I did there on my site, but I do have some old stuff, and I should just type it up and post it up there because it'd be fun. It'd be fun to see kind of how hopefully I've grown. So.
Oh yes, I'm gonna have to go check that out, Kim. And by the way, I appreciate you coming through today,
Yeah,
Kim. And
thank you.
again, this is Mr. Old School Ryder on Hey, Use Your Inside Voice Live. And good night, and make sure you buy some books from me.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you later.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. I'll hit you on Instagram so I can get these other books that you have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
P9 on the Twitter.